Member from Toronto-Danforth.
Thank you, Speaker. My question to the Minister of Education. Schools are at the heart of our communities, but this Liberal government wants to cut education funding and shut down schools across this province. Last fall, the New Democrats uncovered the Liberals' plan to cut $500 million from our schools. Now we know that 48 schools in Toronto alone are facing closure. This unprecedented wave of school closures will make life harder for families by selling off green space and closing childcare spots across the city. How can the minister defend her plan to shut down schools and wring public funding out of the classrooms at the expense of our students?
Thank you, Minister of Education.
Yes, thank you very much, Speaker. And I really do need to talk about the premise of your question, because the idea that we have cut funding to public education is quite frankly preposterous. We have, in fact, increased funding of schools by 56.5% since 2003. That's an increase of 56.5% while the enrollment has been declining. And the per pupil funding has gone up. It's gone up by over $4,000 per pupil for each and every pupil in Ontario. So this whole idea that we're out there cutting funding is absolutely preposterous. And the same is true of childcare funding. Childcare funding has also gone up, as have the number of childcare space.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Speaker, the simple reality is that the minister has issued discussion documents telling school boards to be prepared for cuts to 1.5% to 2%, $500 million in cuts. And the minister this morning did not use the normal argument that we're funding empty seats in our schools. A key part of her argument. But the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives actually did the math. They called the ministry's numbers on the empty schools a bogus number. Speaker, that means that the Liberals are defending their school closure plans by using bad math and forcing Toronto families to pay the price. When will the minister show parents the respect they deserve and stop using bogus numbers to justify deep Liberal cuts for children's schools?
Minister.
Actually, it was interesting to see what Margaret Wilson had to say about this whole issue, because Margaret Wilson looked at it and she said, yes, there are a lot of schools in Toronto in which there is unused space. We had examples of, 70 kids in a school that was built for 500, 300 kids in a school that were built for 1,000. And we actually believe, Speaker, that what we need to do is concentrate on funding good programs for children who are there. And of course, TDSB and many other boards, but TDSB in particular, has identified that it has a backlog of renewal. Why does it have a backlog of renewal? Because it's spending all its money on trying to maintain space that isn't required.
Answer. We
want them to focus on maintaining the space that is required and on providing programs for kids who are there.
Thank you.